Prop the mic, PTM. We're back.
Took a little weekend off, some traveling. But we still got some picks out, and we still did pretty good for the weekend. So,
Yeah.
But some of the days we were only putting out like one or two picks. Today I want to get back to like getting good volume of picks out.
Yeah.
At
You
least
also
three.
you also only had one game one day, right? It was one
Right.
game on Saturday, two games. So, the picks, we usually do like a pick or two per game. So it was,
Yeah, I know. It just felt like you said, I'm still not fully out of that mode of like having 10, 12 games on a
yes.
day where we would have, 20 picks and have to choose like our favorites. This is definitely more selective, but you know what? We had over 60% hit rate in the month of April.
Sir.
So I think the playoffs have been really good. So let's keep it going.
All right. Sounds good. I'm ready.
All right, cool. So 2 games tonight. We got the Sixers at the Celtics. That's the first game. Celtics are -10 at home. Total is 214. So the big news is really Embiid.
Yep.
I still see him as a game time decision, but he's also listed as doubtful. So I think definitely the assumption in the line is that he's not playing.
Yeah.
But there is a small chance he could play. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think
he's out, right?
Everything I've read is he's out. So I think.
Yeah. So the Celtics. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think they're able to do that. So, keep Boston on their toes a little bit or whatever they're doing, around the rules. But yeah, I doubt he plays.
Yeah, it's interesting strategy because really the Sixers really just need to take one of two in Boston, right? So they pretty much will give up this game and then try to win game 2 is kind of the strategy.
Yeah.
And if that allows Embiid to play more of the series, then it's a good move.
Yeah.
But the Celtics have kind of owned this series this year. They're 3-1 in the regular season. Both games in Boston, the Celtics won by 9 and by 7. So not blowouts, but definitely decent margins.
It's not a good matchup for Philly. I think it's multiple. A lot of times that when it gets into this time of the season, I like to when you have some extra time in your hands because we're not going through 8-10 game slates. You could do some deeper dives. I can listen to some podcasts, team podcasts, and you get some different information.
Right.
They really have struggled this year against wings that can create their own shots. Boston, I think, has like the best 1 and 2 wings that can create their own shots in the league tandem. So that presents a problem for them. They struggle with bigs that can knock down threes from the perimeter, right? Boston, who does Boston have? Horford. They didn't even play Grant Williams in round 1, but Grant Williams can do that. So they have that. And then they struggle against teams with good benches. Boston is one of the best benches in the league, headed by our main man, Malcolm Brogdon. So I think this might be a nice spot for Broggy boy here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because if you look at the Sixers' second unit, it's not very good,
especially without Embiid. So now it's even lighter than they were before.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, but you know what? They still got some superstars. Harden's still got a few big games in them. So let's see if they can make it competitive tonight. Who do you like? In let's start on the Sixers side since you didn't have anybody. I don't think, right?
I have 2 I wanted to point out.
Okay.
Quickly. So I think I'm never an under guy, but I think this screams maxi under in this game. It's 24.5. I think that line's juiced up with how well he did in round 1. Also without Embiid there. Like we said before, he's got a tough matchup against Boston here defensively. They can switch a bunch of different guys on him to guard him. And it speaks to the fact that he hasn't cleared this line in 7 straight games against Boston. Granted, his line's usually not this high, but he's 0 for 7 against Boston the last 2 seasons. In the game they played without Embiid in round 1 against the Nets, he only had 16 points. So I think this is a nice spot for an under here. So I wanted to put that out. See what you think.
I like that because if you look at my notes today, the first name I wrote was Maxey. And I looked at him without Embiid playing 30 plus minutes, and I didn't like what I saw, so I crossed it out. So basically, I didn't like what I saw because he didn't have a very good hit rate. I didn't think to go the direction of the under. His assists, I think, were a decent play.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2.5 assists when he gets some good run without Embiid. But his
Mm-hmm.
points were not looking like a good overplay. So I do like
Yeah.
the under there.
Yeah, and even if you do a deeper dive, the second half of the season, the times that he did cross that, like he crossed it in that game against Denver when Embiid sat, but in Denver was like in that real bad funk at that point in time. They were
Right.
playing really bad, so it wasn't like going up against a normal Denver team who's really good defensively. And I forget there's a couple other spots in there, but even against a team like Detroit, he couldn't get there. So yeah, I like this spot. And then the other one is just Harden is number 2 in assist percentage this postseason, 38%. He's only behind Trae Young, 10th in assist to usage ratio. So I think his assist line at 8.5, which is fairly low for him, -125, could be a good spot here. He's done it in 5 of 7 games without Embiid this season, averaging 10.5 assists per game. So those are the two I had on the Sixers side, but they're more leans than like heavy plays.
Yeah, I think those are directionally right. I mean, Harden's going to need 10, 11, 12 assists in order for them to win this game. So if it is competitive, he'll certainly cross that 8.5, 9 mark.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I liked a sneaky play here.
All right.
I like Paul Reed. Lines are not out, so I'm just this is just a something to keep an eye on. But I looked at all the games this season that he's played 24 plus minutes. Okay. Which I'm assuming I didn't even take the time to make sure that Embiid didn't play those games, but I'm pretty sure he didn't. I
see you got a little taste of what this used to be like before props.cash.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, this was a very painful process to go through. But I the reason why I looked at him is first he was in the projected starting lineup. So over Montrez, he's starting.
Yeah, he'll start. Yeah.
And second, I found him to be pretty impressive in that Nets series. Now Nets aren't very good at guarding the bigs, but I just found him to be super efficient around the rim and grab a ton of rebounds. So knowing that the Celtics aren't particularly great defending the center position either, I just looked at what he had done when he actually played decent minutes. So 24 plus minutes. He's played 7 games this year. He is 6 for 7 with a double-double in those games.
Okay.
So let me read you the lines. 10 points, 15 rebounds, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 10 points, 8 rebounds. That was against the Hawks. 16 and 14, 16 and 12, 12 and 13, 19 and 10. So not even really close. The only one that was close was the one that he didn't cross. So there's 2 directions you can go with this. If for some miracle Embiid officially gets announced out, he's in the starting lineup, and they give you the option to bet a double-double on him, the odds will be really good, and I think he's a really good play. So put a little sprinkle on that. The other direction would be to take his rebounds or his PR if either of those become available as well. So I have a feeling those will come out. Maybe like a PR would probably come out somewhere around 18 for him, and I think it'll be a home run.
Makes sense.
So
I like that. I can see some correlation between the Harden assists too. I think maybe Harden and Reed get a little something going today. If Philly has any shot of keeping it close or winning this game. Yeah.
All right, so that's that. Let's move on to the Boston side because that's really where probably the better plays were in this game. Who do you like on that side?
So I went back and did some digging into the over the last 2 seasons, the matchups between Boston and Philly. Jaylen Brown has led Boston in scoring in 5 of the last six times that they've played. So I think I'm leaning Jaylen in this game. He's done it in 4 of his last 5 against Philly when he plays 18 plus minutes. So basically just wiping out one game where he didn't really play much, averaging 28.5 points. He's done this in his last 17 of 20 games when he plays 35 plus minutes, which I'm sure he will. He did that, I think, in every game except game 1. of round one. And this is he's shooting 52% from three this postseason. So pretty good numbers there. Obviously, he can't keep that up, but let's ride the hot hand and the guy who seems to have more success than Tatum against Philly.
Yeah, I like Jaylen Brown. Is he sporting the mask or not the mask these days? I saw him without it, and then he had it back on.
It comes and goes. Yeah, it's weird. My son was asking that as well the other day. He's like, "What happened to the mask?"
I wish we need to talk to Props.cash and get a mask filter on there.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if he plays better with or without the mask.
It's great. I love that, actually. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm not sure that's an official NBA stat.
Yeah, maybe.
But that'd be fun. All right. Okay. And then anybody else on the Celtics side?
Yeah, I have a couple more here. I like. I think Horford. He was kind of quiet in round one. I think he comes in and. I mean, he obviously there's no Embiid. He's kind of the reason the Celtics have him. He's a good Embiid stopper. Then, like I mentioned earlier, there's struggles with the bigs that can have a perimeter shot. So I like his threes over 1.5 threes. It's minus 160, so a little pricey, but he's done it in 5 straight games against Philadelphia. He's done it in 6 straight games on 3 days rest. He has a 70% hit rate with 27 minutes, and that goes up to an 80% hit rate with 27 plus minutes at home.
So yeah. How do you feel about layering in some assists in there? Because he's just automatic when it comes to assists.
Yeah. His line was typically 2.5. I think it's up to 3.5.
No, it's at 2.5 at minus 172 right now.
Oh, okay.
But if you went, I'm just looking on the full season. If you went down to 1.5 assists, right? So 2 assists. He's cleared that in 81% of the games this year.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, yeah. So I think that could be a good play as well. He's cleared that in 82% of the games at home. So
what are you saying? You're saying to put a 3 with an assist, with the 2 assists,
2 threes, and 2 assists, something like that.
I like that.
I think that's a relatively low risk way of getting of getting that minus 160 line to be closer to plus 100. So
yeah.
So that's an option.
Very nice. Okay. I like that.
Wouldn't be the first time we did a little alted parlay for Horford.
No, we had Sabonis cash the other day with one of those 4 assists and 1 steal.
It's good.
It got a little sweaty, but we got there.
All right.
I also liked Robert Williams. I think he's in a good spot, especially without Embiid to deal with. Over 7.5 points, minus 135. He's done this in 4 of 6 playoff games so far. But when he plays more than 20 minutes, that's all 4 playoff games. He's number 1 overall in points per 100 shot attempts this postseason at 182.1, just blowing him out of the water. And that equates, that's an 88.5 effective field goal percentage, just monster number. So I think that's a good spot for him as well.
Yeah, he was the number 1 guy popping on the board today. So I really like him too. That's good. All right.
There was one other with Malcolm Brogdon, but I think you had him, so I'll let you take that.
No, I would never take that away from you. Go ahead.
No? All right.
I mean, I did love Brogdon. He was actually my favorite play on the board today. So finally I've come to the dark side and
he came around.
And I love that his well, I'll go for it. His PRA. His PRA is 19.5. Is that what you were?
It was 21.5.
I know.
Games ago.
So we're getting a huge discount on him. I just like that he's had really good success against Philly, right? 4 games against Philly this year. He had 22, 27, 13, and 25. I think that the game with 13, maybe his minutes were down under 22. And the reason why I looked at 22 is when he played 22 minutes in the first round of the playoffs, he was 5 for 5. So that's really his line. If he gets 22 minutes tonight, he's likely going to clear this with ease. If you look at the season holistically, 22 minutes, he's got an 87% clear rate on this. So
Yeah.
huge hit rate.
Yep.
So I think he'll get 22 to 28 minutes tonight. And I think he could end up easily with 25 PRA.
Yeah, I agree. I think he averaged just under 27 minutes per game in round one.
Yep.
I had the stat I had here was 38 of 41 games this season with 24 plus minutes,
Okay.
averaging 26 and a half par. So I think you get that. My other note here was will dominate Philly's bench. So I think we're both on Brogdon big time here.
Yeah. Who's going to guard him? So
yeah. Yep.
All right, cool. So anything else on this game?
That's it. Let's move on.
All right, so now we got the night game, late night game. We got the Suns at the Nuggets. This is game 2, right? So the Nuggets took game 1 pretty easily. They are minus 4.5 at home. Totals 227. I do have to say I really respected Durant's interview after the game.
What did he say?
Two things. One is like he just basically took full blame for the loss. He was like, I had 7 turnovers. He's like, and 1 assist. He's like, we're not going to win if I put up numbers like that. So he basically took the blame for the loss. And then they were asking him, like, were you surprised with how the Nuggets played? And he was like, why would I be surprised? They were the number 1 seed in the West.
Yeah,
they play amazing at home. Like, what do you not expecting from this team? So very, very grown up answer. Very impressed with that. So okay, what do you like? Let's start with the Sun side. Anything?
I had nothing on. I actually had nothing on the Sun side. I think it's a little bit, going to Denver is not great to play in. The way KD looked in the first game was a kind of not great, and I just want to see another game before I put anything on the Sun side. How about you?
Yeah, I had 2 leans again, not strong plays. The first is DeAndre Ayton under 9.5 rebounds.
Love it.
Yeah, this year he's crossed this in 2 of 4 games, right? So he's got a 50% hit rate against the Nuggets. Last year he was 0 for 3 against the Nuggets. So I don't have a lot to support it, but he just doesn't seem to be able to rebound against Jokic. So I think that's a good play. But again, play it small because who knows. The other one was just a 2 person parlay, altered parlay. So I liked Durant with 25 points and Booker with 26 points. You put those 2 together, that's minus 133. The reason why I liked it is because that's the minimum that they've scored in every game of the playoffs. Okay. So Durant's hit 25 in every game. Booker's hit 26 or more in every game. So so just another way of kind of playing some uncertainty. I think one of them will have a big game. I just don't know which one. Durant seems to be like capping out around 30 points, 32, something like that. Anybody who's going to score 40 points is probably going to be Booker. So
I would say so. It seems to be the way things have gone. Yeah. All right. I like that.
All right. So, again, leans, I wouldn't go crazy with those. Let's go to the Nugget side. What do you like over there?
So let's start with Murray. He's hard to pass on right now. The guy's just, I don't know what happens to him in the playoffs. Just next level stuff, pretty cool. So, I was looking at his, I think you're good anywhere you go. I think his points line is 24.5. I think that's
24.5. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's nice. I think, his par also, 36.5 is also nice. He's done it in 9 of 12 at home, this season when he plays 36 plus minutes, which he should here. And, 2 of the 3 misses of those 12 games, he had 36 par. So it got hooked in 2 of them. So he almost has cleared this in 11 of 12 at home with 36 minutes. He will play 36 minutes in this game. So I like that. And then the other way to look at it is his threes. Since he's been so hot, it's 3.5, but it's plus 120. So that's nice. He's done it in 11 of 14 at home with 30 plus minutes. And all 4 playoff games at home this season, he's also crossed that line. 6, 5, 6, and 4.
That was my play too.
Nice.
Jamal Murray, 3.5 threes. I had a plus 105, so I love the plus 120.
Yeah, FanDuel's got a plus 120. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only other thing I'll add to that is just the attempts, right? Because anytime we play a 3-point play, I always look at the attempts. In the four home games that you referred to, where he went 6-5, 6-4, he had 10 attempts, 9 attempts, 10 attempts, 10 attempts. So very consistently getting about 10 attempts at home. Interesting, though, in his 2 games away in the playoffs against Minnesota, I think he only averaged about 6.5 attempts.
Okay.
So definitely the volume goes up significantly when he's at home, which makes sense. That's quite an environment to play in, you know.
Yes.
And I see him just like, coming off of a hot game. His confidence is an all-time high again.
Yeah.
He's just going to be bombing away. So
yeah, super confident. He had I watched his post-game interview, and he was just like, we're ready. Like we're ready to take on whoever comes. Like people don't, the Nuggets are not one of the most high profile teams. He's like, but everyone's going to see right now when we're on the national stage, like we're ready for this, and we're not going home anytime soon. It's basically what he said.
Are we setting up for a Nuggets Celtics final right now? Kind of feels that way, right?
You're not thinking the Knicks can get there?
In the first half of yesterday's game, I did. In the second half, not so much. When Kevin Love was just throwing full court passes on him. No, I don't know. It's there are a couple surprise teams, but it does feel like the Nuggets.
It is feeling like that, yeah.
And the Celtics seem to have a pretty clear path towards the final.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Though if the Knicks get out of this round 2 against the Heat, the Knicks have had the Celtics number all season this year. So I will just say that. But he had a healthy Randall, so that throws a wrench into things. But
Jimmy Butler looked like he got hurt yesterday. So if he's hurt, they're done
with the ankle.
Yeah, something happened. I don't know. But anyway, back to today's games. Who else other than Jamal Murray?
All right. So in game 1, I texted this to you. It was super scary, so we didn't post it, but it ended up cashing. Nikola Jokic assists. I was on the under on his assists in game 1. It was 9.5. It's actually down to 8.5 now, which kind of encourages my theory here. If you go back to his last 7 game 1s, he averaged 3.4 assists per game in his last 7 playoff game 1s. So that was why I was on that the other day. So if you go look at his game 2s, it goes up, but it's still only 6 assists per game in his last 7 game 2s that he's played. So I also think what's interesting about this is for all those people that are going to go and look at his splits, he's cleared 8.5 assists in his last 18 of 19 home games when he plays 35 plus minutes. So this is like, you see that and it's all green except for one little red bar. And you're like, oh, this is a home run. I just think and he's also nursing a bit of a wrist injury as well. So that might cut down the assists somewhat as well. I think he's one of these guys that he's like this basketball savant, right? I think he kind of wants to see what the other team's going to do. He's not showing all his cards right away. And then he lays down the hammer later in the series. What do you think?
I was one of those people who was tempted by all the green bars. I actually had over 8.5 assists.
Really?
He's 9 of 9 with 37 minutes at home, averaging 12 assists. But I hear you. I actually forgot that you were on his under for the first one since we didn't play it. Yeah. I hear you. It's very hard to go against the man. And what he only ended up with five assists or something in the first game?
Five assists, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean it's very, very tempting, but it's not something I can stand behind. I had
a personal parlay that hit that wasn't put out there, that it was the over on his rebounds alted up and an under on his assists alted down. That was a nice big plus 1,000 payoff. Yeah. So I'm going to try to ride that again here and see if we can cash another one of those tickets.
Okay. So what do you like? So you like under on his assist? Do you like you like his rebounds as well in this game?
I like his
Over?
rebounds. It's not something that, I mean, I liked it. I actually didn't look into it too much. I liked it. I liked it the other in game one, so I don't see why it would change. I'm just trying to look at his. Oh yeah, I have him right here. Jokic game two. He's got. Let me see here. Yeah, he's averaging about 10. It's actually a little bit lower. It's lower than it was in game one. He's averaging less in game two, but who knows what that means, really.
Yeah. I mean, he's had really, really big games against Phoenix this year. He had 19 the other night. And then the two prior games, he had 15 and 18. So it correlates well with that 8 and under. That was a big factor as to why I also liked 8 and under. Technically, those two things do work very well together. You could throw them together.
Yeah.
But
I like
okay.
that.
All right.
I got one more. I got one more.
I think we might have to pass on him just because we're very conflicted.
I think so.
But okay, so who's the last one that you have?
So Aaron Gordon. I don't know if you saw some of his numbers against Phoenix. His points, 14.5 points, minus 130. He's cleared that in 3 straight games against Phoenix, including twice since Kevin Durant's there. Listening to some of these podcasts, over the weekend and earlier today, he just presents a really tough matchup for Phoenix. Like, they just don't have anyone strong enough that can bother him and slow him down. He was kind of a non-factor in the first round, and that was because they did have someone to stop him in Rudy Gobert. But Phoenix doesn't. So this is a great spot for Gordon here. It's a nice low line, and I think he gets there no problem in this game.
Yeah, he played big minutes too in the first game. I didn't even realize he played 39 minutes. And if you look, I actually think some of these lines are set a little lower than they should be in general, just because a lot of the guys came out of the game before they normally would have. So, but it looks like he played almost the whole game, which is very encouraging, right?
Yeah.
And he's got good success against Phoenix.
This is a little sneaky. I like this.
This is a slam dunk, man.
Yeah.
Look at his.
He crushes Phoenix. Yeah.
Right. That's good. It's interesting because we spent most of the regular season focusing on matchups, and we've gotten a little bit away from matchups just because you have like the recency.
That's more valuable, I think.
It's more valuable at this point in the season, but the matchups, especially in the first game or two of this series, are pretty important because you don't have that. You don't have that history as much. So, so I like that. Good matchup, good history. It's a double check. I'm behind that one.
All right, sold him.
All
right.
after struggling on the Jokic assist. So, all right, cool. Anything? Who are you picking in this game?
Denver
to win.
Yeah.
Clear the 4.5 too.
I would say, I think
I think they have such a good ability to come out like firing, right? And they get teams in a hole that they just can't come up out of. So I could see that happening again tonight.
And they're pretty deep too, especially compared to Phoenix. Like, Phoenix lost all their depth. They have like no depth anymore. And they're happy to let Chris Paul take some outside shots. Like they're I don't know. I think it's also a good match. It's a good matchup here for
Yeah, I agree. I think they got this one. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, I think that wraps it up. Enjoy the 2 games tonight. We'll get a few of these picks up on Twitter, and if anything else pops up, like Paul Reed, we'll get those up as well. Okay.
All right. Nice work. Enjoy the games.
Yep, you too.